Kakadosh Boker Or Shavua Tov Masechet Bava Metzia Daf 39a1. We're just starting on 38b, the last line where it says, what's the difference between the concept of netushim and retushim? So he said, Maishna Hanach dekar lehu netushim, Maishna Hanach dekar lehu retushim. Meaning, what's the difference between them? So the Gemara says on Lametet Amud Aleph, on the top, it says, netushim were done against their will, which means they left it against their will. Because it says in the Pasuk, Vashiviti Shmitenu Tashtah, that the year of the Shemitah, you have to leave the field, so that goes against your will. And therefore, it's Afkata de Malka, it comes from the mitzvah of the Melech, which is obligating you to actually abandon it. So therefore, Netisha means against your will. So therefore, that's what it means. And Retushim, it means that you agree to it. As it's written in the Pasuk, Em Albanim Rutasha. So Tana, so we learned in the Braita, Vekulam Shamin Lahen Karis, which means all these properties that you go down to them in order to, and then the owners come back. So therefore, you're going to take the appreciation and the value, just like an aris does in any single place. So if just like a sharecropper comes and he's going to take, so too these guys are going to take. So again, remember, a person was taken to captivity, and then they're going to come and they're going to bring down a family member, the closest of kin, in order to take care of the land. So and that's going to be the Netushim, right? Because it was done against their will. Okay? And the Netushim is just some, they just took off. Okay? Fine. Very good. Says the Gemara, Ahai, to which part are we talking about? Ilema Shvuyin, if you're going to tell you right now that they were taken into captivity, and then you heard that they died, Hashta Zariz V'niskarava. So therefore it's actually good. He's running and he's going to gain. Now, if you're going to come and you're going to gain because you went down to the field and now you started taking the fruits, so now that which it went in appreciating value, I have to even say it. Obviously, you're going to get that. But rather a retushim. We're talking about the retushim, right? Which means that the guy he left town, skipped town, and then they're going to come, right? And they're going to say this, yeah. So what happens? So it says over here, right? He says, what are you talking about? I thought that it says that you have to take it out of his hands. Meaning that when he left willingly, so now you're going to have to come and take it out of his hands. But rather a netushim. We're talking about the netushim. So according to who? If you're going to tell me it's according to the rabbis, the rabbi said take it away from him. And he's not going to be like a sharecropper. And if it's going to be like Rashbag, Hamar, they already said, Shamati shenetushim, or like the shvuin, which means it's the same halacha. So therefore, so what are we talking about then? So answers the Gemara, kishvuyin vela kishvuyin. It's like shvuyin and not shvuyin. Kishvuyin, like shvuyin, de'en motzino tamiyado. You don't take it out of their hands. But it's not going to be like shvuyin, de'ilu atam, because over there by the shvuyin, zariz v'niskar, which means when they do that, they're going to run, but they get reward for it, right? But here, in our case, shamina lekaris, they're going to come and they're going to evaluate him like an aris. But it's not that he just gains whatever he takes in between. So that means they're actually going to evaluate everything that he took until now, just like a sharecropper. So says the Gemara, Umayshna mehadetnan. So what's the difference from that which we learned in a Mishnah? The Mishnah says, Hamotziot saot al nichsei ishto. If a person is going to come and he's going to start spending money on the properties of his wife. Remember, the wife comes and she brings in nichsei melug, which means properties into the marriage. And now the husband comes and he appreciates it, so he invests in it. He does renovations, this, that. So says the Gemara, what happens if he puts a lot of money into it, but he only ate a little bit? Yeah? Kim'a ve'achal arbe, or the opposite. He only invested a little bit, but he was able to eat a lot. So whatever he invested. Whatever he ate. Which means that's it. There's no giving back. You understand? It doesn't matter which way it went. Doesn't matter. He whatever finished. So it comes out that it's not only that means here it's when he's not going to accept upon himself like a sharecropper. So says the Gemara, what are you comparing both cases? Hello, Damya. He says elalaha. Why? Because basically a man in his wife's property is not the same as the retushim, right? Because we said that it's compared to Rav Yaakov in the name of Chasta. Hamotziot saot al nichsei ishto ktana. If a person comes and he puts out a lot of money on the property of his wife, that she's a ktana, which means that the mother or brother married her off, and he didn't eat anything yet, it's like you're just investing in somebody else's property, Why? Because remember, she could reject, renounce, and then that's it, and then she goes out free. Alma, so you see from here, Kevin de lo samcha date, since he doesn't have a lot of simichut dat, takinu le rabbanan, the rabbis instituted that he should take like a naris, like a sharecropper, ki heche de lo lefsedinu, in order that it's not going to make it get lost, right, get ruined. Which means like this: if right now the husband's going to invest and it's all going to go to waste, you know what's going to happen? He'll never invest anything. So she brings in a property. He's looking at it. He's going to say, "Okay, I'm going to neglect it." Why? Because anyway, I'm not gaining from it. So the guy's just going to neglect it, and then what happens? Everything goes out. So because of that, we say we don't want that, because that ki'ilu is going to come out that you're losing everything. So because of that, they went and they instituted that the husband gets like a sharecropper, and by getting like a sharecropper, so then what happens? So then it's going to happen that at least he's going to invest in the property, and it's not going to go to waste. Okay. Okay. So now we learned in the Braita v'kulan shamim lain karis. We said in all these cases you're going to evaluate them like a sharecropper. V'kulan latuye mai. Who does the word kulan come to include? So says the Gemara, latuye hada man of Nachman and Shmuel. This comes to include of Nachman and Shmuel. Shavui shenishba moridin karov lenechasav. When you have a shavui, somebody that's been taken into captivity, that he's captured, they're going to bring a karov into the property. Yatzaladat, if right now, right, the person is miyushav bedato, and he went out ritzono, which means ritushim, remember, he left on his own, and moridin karov lenechasav. Rav Nachman Didemar, but Rav Nachman himself said, it was, remember, Rav Nachman was saying this in the name of Shemuel. Now he's going to say in his own opinion, Boreach harezek shavui. No, he says, no, when somebody runs away, he's like taken into captivity. Which means that even though he went on his own, he probably had to, there was something there that he just had to take off. You understand? Nobody just goes away for no reason. I mean, there has to be something that all of a sudden, something happened, as they say. Okay? Boreach mechamat mai. So ask the Gemara, what was he running away? Because of what? If you're going to tell me it's because of the taxes, Hainu ledat, that's retushim. Obviously, he ran away and he knew what he was doing. But boreach mechama mardin, he was boreach because, right, of death, which means that he actually killed someone and he's going to be chayav malachut. Right now, they used to kill for people that killed. So because of that, the person was bahul, so he just picked up and he just took off. He just took off. Yeah, why? Because he didn't want. So he just took off. Okay? Okay. Amar Rav Yehuda Mar Shmuel. Says Rav Yehuda in the name of Shmuel. Shavui shenishba v'niach kama liktzor. Anavim livtzor. Tmarim ligdor. Vezetim limsok. When you have a shavui that is going to be captured, and he left kama, which is basically the wheat, to be reaped, grapes to be, I don't know how you say the English word for it. So each one is like the reaping of it. So, but in Hebrew it's like different words for each one. So the kama was liktzor, ketzira. Anavim was bitzira, which is also like the harvesting of the grapes, right? Timarim is goder, because you come and you pick them. Zeitim is limsok, so the olives is a mosek. Bedin yordim lechasav, they go down to the properties. Umamadim potropos, they're going to put a potropos. Then the potropos is going to be kotzeru, botzeru, vegoder, mosek. So he's going to do all these things. Ve'acharkach, and then afterwards, moridin karov lenechasav. Then they're going to bring him, and then he's going to take like an aris. Right? Okay, so here he says it's only by karka that you take down a family member, not by metaltalim. And here we're going to suspect that he's going to come and he's going to, the karov will come and sell it, right? And then he won't be able to get it back. So therefore the bedin put in a potopos, so therefore for sure he'll get this money back, and then they bring the karov down, then they bring the family member down, and then he's going to be like the potopos. So ask the Gemara, so why don't you always put in a potopos there? Why do you bring down the family member? Meaning you suspected the family member that if he's going to come and do all these things, it could be the guy will lose all his money. So, but why are you then accepting the potopos here? So why don't you just always put in a potopos and that's it? So says the Gemara, potopos ledikne lo mukminan. He says the betin will never put to be toreach to put a potopos on a property of somebody that already is gadol, because it could be that they're not going to find somebody that's going to agree to this. Yeah, and therefore he says it's not like an apotropos for ktanim, right? Why? Because when you get an apotropos for ktanim, it's a mitzvah. meaning they're orphans. So therefore, people will come and they'll do it because, imagine I go to somebody, I said, listen, you're going to be the guarantor. So they'll do it. But if you're going to come to a guy and say you're going to be it doesn't, unless he's getting a salary from it. Yeah, that's so ask the Gemara, Amar Rav Huna, Emoridin Katan Nichse Shavui. You're not going to put a katan to the properties of somebody that's a Shavui. Ve'lo karov nichse katan, ve'lo karov mechamat karov, right, nichse katan. Fine, so says the Gemara, Emoridin Katan Nichse Shavui. You're not going to come and bring a katan to the properties of the one that's captured. Dilma mafsilu, because maybe it could be that he's going to lose. And therefore, what does that mean? Maybe he doesn't know how to run the business properly, and then he's going to make him lose. We're talking about brothers from the mother. Okay? Velo karov lenikse katan kevno lo mache, because at the end of the day he can't be moche, right? Which means that he can't rebuke and he can't say, what's going on? So he can make a chazakah. And once he made a chazakah, so that's it. Right, because remember, once he makes a chazakah, then he could keep it afterwards. So Amar Rava comes and he says, Shema mine min Rav Huna, we learn from Rav Huna, emachzikim in katan. We never make a chazakah in the properties of a katan for Yerusha. Why? Because you can't say that the father sold it to him, right? And even though he's there in the fields for a few years, it doesn't matter. In front of the katan, it doesn't matter. Because the katan is a child, so he doesn't know what's going on. So you can't make a chazakah in front of the katan. Okay? Vafilu igdilin, even if he becomes bar mitzvah, it's the same thing, because when he was younger, he already saw that this was happening, so he doesn't realize what's going on. Okay? Lameteta Mubet, 39b. Velo Amran, and what are we dealing with? Ela be'ache de Abba, with the brothers of the father, which means achiv of the katan from the father, in order that he can't say that it's coming from Yerusha from the mother. Vel be'ache de ima, let lamba, there's no problem. Ve'ache de Abba, nami lo amran el bar'ata, that's only in property. Aval bebate, but in houses, let lamba, there's no problem. That's only if he didn't make a shtar chaluka, which means like a document. But if he did make this document, so there's a voice, there's a rumor that goes around, and therefore there's not going to be any problem. Says the Gemara, velohi, but it's not really accurate. Doesn't matter whether it's the brothers of the father or brothers of the mother, right? And there's no difference, or also loshna ratav, loshna bata. There's no difference in the fields that we said that usually there it's a problem, but if it's going to be houses, we said that the neighbors can testify that it would belong to the children. Now we're saying there's no difference between fields and houses. Veloshna aviditza, veloshna avid lo avita. It says there's no difference whether they made a shtar chaluka or not, which is a document which is dividing the properties or not. Lo machtina. We never bring down a karov. We never take a family member to the properties of a katan. Hahi savta, story. There was a savta, an elderly woman. She had 3 girls. So her and one of her daughters were taken into captivity. Right? And there was another 2 girls. One of them died. And she left a little child. Yeah? So nobody was married at the time. So one more time, you had the mother and one daughter that was taken into captivity. Another daughter that died, but she died and she had left over a child. And then you had only one daughter left, okay, that she was not in captivity and she was still alive. So Amar Abaye, miskenim the family, no? Amar Abaye comes and he says, Hechi Navi, what are we going to do exactly with the property of the Zekenah? We don't know if she's alive or if she's dead. Lukminul nikse biyad da'achata, if you're going to put it in this girl, Dilma shchiva safta, maybe the safta already died, and now the katan is also going to be yoresh. Ve'emoridin karov l'nichse katan, you never put a karov in the property of a katan. Nukminu l'nichse biyad dinak, if you're going to put it in the property of the child, right, maybe you're going to put half of it, and half of it in the property of the sister. He says, Dilma lo shchiva safta, maybe the safta didn't die. Ve'emoridin katan l'nichse shavui, so you don't take a katan to the property of somebody that's taken in captivity. So what do? You're stuck in our case, basically. So Amar Abaye says, Palga yavina la lachata, half you give to the sister, because bimanav shach, she gets half. V'idach palga, another half, mukmin la potropa, you're going to put it in a potopos yenuka, for the yenuka. Okay? But Rava argues and he says, no. Migu de mukmin la potropa palga, if you could put already the potopos for half, mukmin la potropa, you put it on the entire thing. Which means that basically you're going to put the apotropos, on everything, the entire thing. So Lesof at the end, Shamu they heard the Shchiva Savta, that the Savta actually died. They heard that the Savta died. So Amar Abaye says, Tilta Yavina Le'alachata, right? 1/3 from the properties of the Zekena we're going to give, right, to them. The Tilta Yavina Lenuka, you're going to give 1/3. So he basically split it up differently. He said, give right now 1/3 of the properties of the Zekena to the sister. 1/3 you're going to give to the child. Ve'idach tilta, and the other 1/3 Yavina danka lachata, to the sister which is in front of us. Ve'idach danka, the other 6 mukmin laputrupus lienuka. So now it says the Gemara. So one more time. So 1/3 that went to the sister is supposed to go to the sister. The 1/3 that went to the other sister, because each sister is supposed to take 1/3. So the 1/3 that went to the other sister, she died, so it goes to the son. So we're going to give it to the son. And then the other 1/3, which is a sister, which is in captivity, that we don't know nothing about her, we divide it into 6 and a 6. One 6 goes to the sister, which is here, and the other 6 would have gone to the other sister, which passed away. So it goes to the katan. Obviously, you're going to put a potopos to this. And Rava comes and he says, no, migu demukim potopos the danka mukmin nami potopos lidach danka. You on the last 2 6, the entire thing goes after the potopos. But just like you're putting a potopos there, you're going to put a potopos here as well. Mari bar Isak comes atale acha mi bechuzai. So he came and he brought from acha mi bechuzai. Okay, and he says like this. He says Elmaleh. He says plogli, right? Divide with me. Elmaleh says, Lo edan lach, what are you talking about? I don't know who you are. I don't even know if you're my brother. So imagine, somebody comes and he tells him, listen, I'm your brother, divide the property with me. He says, I don't even know who you are. So Atala came in the Rav Chasta, they went from Elmaleh, he says, Shabik Amalcha, what? He's right. What do you want? He doesn't know you. So therefore, it could be that he doesn't recognize you. So therefore, because if you left, so that's it. So Elmaleh, he says, Zila tisad dachwat, go bring proofs that you're the brother. So Elmaleh idli sade, I do have proofs. V'dach lemineh, but they're afraid of him. The gavra limahu, because he's a very powerful person. So Elmaleh ledideh, so he went and he told the other guys, so you bring proofs that he's not a brother. Because if not, he is going to take it. You understand what I mean? Since the guy is such a powerful guy, they're afraid of coming, because then they're going to get in trouble with him. So therefore, he flipped it. Okay, so you bring proof that he's not a brother. So Elmaleh dinach, he says what? That's the din. He says what? Usually you have to take out the money, you have to bring the proof. He says no. That's what we judge to the people that are so powerful and all your friends like that. Meaning when you guys are going to come and start intimidating other people, that's the way we play the game. Because usually you're right. He brings the proof. But if you're going to start playing around, that's the way they do it. So Elmaleh, so he tells him, sof atu sadeh v'lo masade. He says, 1 second, okay, bring them, right? What is it going to help, right? At the end of the day, since they're afraid, so we're going to suspect that they're going to bring, and they're not going to tell the truth. They're meaning, if already he's such a powerful person, he's going to bring witnesses that they're going to lie. Elmaleh, he says, Tarte lo avida. He said, no. We're not going to suspect that he's going to do 2 things, which means 2 things which are not good. That first of all, they're not going to come and they're not going to tell, and then for sure they're going to come and they're going to lie. Ad kedei kach, we're not going to suspect. At the end, they brought witnesses that he was a brother. Elmaleh, and he told them, linami. So, also mi pardes umustin de shatal. You have to give to me also from the kerem, from the vineyard, right, and from the pardes and from the orchard, right, that you planted. So Elmaleh, he says, Shapik Amalcha Ditnan, hiniach banim gdolim gdolim, yishpichu gdolim terechsim, yishpichu lemtza. Anything that you appreciated, you have to give to the middle. Mem Amud Aleph 48:1. V'chen Amar Rabba, and that's also what Rabba said. Yishpichu lemtza, it goes to the middle. So Elmaleh Abaye comes and he says, Midami, can you compare both cases? Hatam over there, gdolim gabe ktanim yade. When there's gdolim, they knew that they were ktanim. So therefore they're mochel. That means even though they knew it and they're coming and they're appreciating the field, they know that there was ktanim and they know that it's going to appreciate it for them. Hacha, but in our case, they didn't know. So therefore, whoever said that he was mochel, you understand? That means when he was doing it, he thought it was his. That's why he's appreciating the field. He didn't know. In a normal case, they know that there's ktanim, so therefore they know it, and therefore they're mochel. In our case, he didn't know. So yigalgal mimta, so the psak halacha was mitgalgel. Umatal came to Rabbi, came in front of Rabbi. Elmaleh, when he said gedola mizo, we already even learned more than that. Amru shamin laim ke'aris, right? They say that he takes it like an aris, right? Hashta didei, if right now to do with his own thing, lo yavinle, we're not going to give it to him, which means this belongs to him. So what do you want then, right? Well, we're not going to give him like a chelek of an aris in the shevach that he actually did for the other half, meaning that he should get something from it. So adura lehamed Rav Chasta. So they went and they brought back this question of Chasam Lehu, and he told them, Midami, can you compare both cases? Hatam birshut nachit. There he came down birshut. Vehacha lav birshut nachit. And here he didn't come down birshut. Ve'odem furthermore, katanhu. Ve'emoridin l'nikseh katan. He's a katan, and they don't go down in the nikseh katan. Sa'adru alekamed Ravami. They came and they brought it in front of Ravami Amalu, and he said, look, they didn't finish off that he was actually a katan when he went down. So if I would have known that, I would have also said the same thing. That he doesn't take like an aris and a shevach that he did. Meaning, they didn't finish off the story. So since they didn't finish off the story that he was a katan, and therefore since en moridino tolifnei a katan, that's why eno badin that he's going to take like an aris. Because he wasn't supposed to go down to the property at all. He was a katan, so he wasn't supposed to go down to the property at all. But since I didn't know that, that's why he went down. So therefore he doesn't take like a sharecropper. Right? Because of that.